G'day guys, and welcome back to Retrospectreviews. And in this video I thought we'd have a look at this 1988 to 89 Dick Smith catalogue. Now Dick Smith is similar to J-Car and Radio Shack, but this is the Australian version. Apparently Dick Smith saw Radio Shack in America and thought it was a great idea and brought that idea back to Australia and opened his own electrical shop called Dick Smith, named after himself. So let's have a look and see what's inside this catalogue. Starting here on the front page of the Dick Smith Electronics Customers Catalogue from 1988 to 89. So a fair bit of retro stuff from the late 80s there. A house phone there, cordless house phone, radio, keyboard, CB radio. So some pretty cool stuff. But let's open it up and see what's on the first page. One note I do find interesting, it actually cost 30 cents if you wanted this catalogue. So it wasn't something they gave out free. We used to get free catalogues from Dick Smith and some of the other electronic stores in the mail, or in newspapers and so forth. But if you wanted this particular one, it was 30 cents. Okay, so let's open it up. Open it up and see what's inside. Okay. First page just tells you a little bit of what to expect inside the magazine. Talking clocks on page 14, 19, CB radios, computers, toys and learning, security, and so forth. Okay, so I'll just flip this back over. This, technically the first page, or the second page, hang on, let's see what this says. So page 3. So it's got a range of headphones. I do miss this style of headphone. I do have a good noise cancelling stereo headphones that Christine brought me, but for out and about I still like these better than the ones that go actually into the ears. Mini headphones, I do believe my brother had those. These stereo earplugs, I could never get these to stay in my ear. Even the modern ones, they drive me crazy. They fall out, I do all the technique. But yeah, I still can't beat these old retro style headphones. And funny enough, I did actually pick up a off-brand set, still packaged, of similar to these ones, but the old yellow. I might drop a picture in that somewhere around about now. Okay, back from that. So we got our alarm clock. So before everyone had their alarms set on their smartphones, or Google Home, or whatever everyone uses these days. So everyone would buy an alarm clock. I actually still use something similar to this, a bit more modern version, but you know, they're pretty cheap now, and well, this one was only $16, so that's not too bad. So yeah, these ones just basically told the time, listened to radio, and had usually 1 to 2 different types of sound, alarms, sorry. Also this one here's an AM FM clock radio, so this one. Okay, so let's turn the page and see what we got on this side. Okay, so now we're into the Walkmans. So for those who, obviously there's a few viewers who remember what Walkmans are, but for the younger viewers, Walkmans were, I suppose, an MP3 player or an iPod, which pretty much, if you're younger than that, you probably just know listening to your music on your phone now. But back in the day, this was the best way, without carrying around a little radio, which this is here, the hip pocket AM FM radio. All that does is pick up radio stations, but if you wanted to listen to your own personal cassettes, This was the way to go. Now I never owned a top end CD cassette player, I should say. So a lot of these, this one, I think there's a couple of Sonys, but we weren't in that kind of bracket. We probably had something like these cheaper versions. This one's not too bad of a price for 88. 88's about the time that electronics really started, these type of electronics really started to come down in price. A lot of the generic stuff started flooding into Australia, so these were getting cheaper, but I think our one actually came from the local market or flea market or stuff like that. So ours was like a Chinese knockoff that, you know, I think might cost me about $20. So yeah, so a lot of Walkmans there. This here, this desktop recorder, this one particular were always useful to me because you could actually hook these ones up to a lot of the 8-bit computers, the Atari STs, the Tandy Coco 3s. I believe there is you can kind of hook these up to a Commodore 64. I've never tried because my Commodore 64 actually came, my first one came with a floppy drive, so I never had to really set up one of these old school tape recorders to it. But then when I did get a tape recorder, I got the official Commodore one that came with my second one. But once again, these here, AM/FM radio, so these were just radio headphones, so you couldn't put a cassette or anything like that into it. You just could listen to radio. A lot of joggers and stuff like that had these sort of things. So a lot of these, so all these are radios, so there's no cassettes goes into those. So this is kind of more of what I would have had when I was younger as a cassette player, but I believe me and my brother we only shared one, so anyone's good. Later, these ones down here, later on, I did have one of these. I had plans of trying to write my own book, which I still have that goal on my bucket list. I've got plenty of starter stories, never able to quite complete that. But getting off topic there a bit, I did buy one of these hoping that when I was walking around, when I used to get great ideas, I would record my ideas down. I don't know what happened to that. I did find the cassette for it. I had one recordable cassette for it, and I don't know what happened to the actual player. It might be in a box somewhere, so I might have to dig around, see if I can find that. Okay, let's turn the page. Okay, continuing on with the audio. I do remember these incredible floating radios. This was all the rage, even though we didn't own a pool. I do remember seeing these. Me and my brother were quite keen on getting one of these. I don't know where we would have used it. I guess we imagined going to the beach with it or to the local swimming pool. Now, yeah, I do remember my brother and me, well, it was more my brother had one of these moving and grooving around, but his was red. He had a red one. I'm not sure where he got it from. It just turned up one day. Maybe a friend gave it to him or someone. My brother was always bringing home things. But yeah, so these are just little reportable radios. Okay, let's turn the page here. Okay, it's still in the audio. Here's the red one. No, this is not like the one my brother had. The one that I pointed to before was more the one that my brother had. This one here, this is the first appearance of compact discs in this magazine, in this catalogue. So it's pretty pricey, $3.99 just for a portable compact disc player. So yeah, I'm just trying to think when we got I think it was about the time we got our first CD player at home. Mum brought, it was about 88, 89. But yeah, they were a bit expensive back then, so we just didn't really have much to do with CD players until probably early 90s when prices started to come down a bit. On this page here we've got cassette tapes. This is obviously made especially for an answering machine, and that's another thing. We never had an answering machine. I don't think we got an answering machine till ever, really. First time I had anything to do with answering machines when I got my first mobile phone, and you could record your own message. Below that is a couple of tapes, Betamax. These ones here, Betamax. That's the only player we had for a long time. It wasn't until I think I actually had moved out of home before Mum actually moved on to a VHS tape. Down here is a few cleaning supplies. Had one of these for the beta tape, the video head cleaning. Had heaps of these cassette ones because audio cassettes were the thing that we used the most of. So had those. Moving on. So over here with this megaphone. I always wanted a megaphone, don't ask me why, but I did. I always thought that would be cool. But this page here is probably what most people would be interested in, and that's what they sold of Nintendo. So they're advertising here, there's the robot, the gun. It's like having an arcade at home. So let's see how much. Let's see the deluxe pack. So what do we get for $3.99? Includes controller, control deck, ROB robot, Zapper light gun, and 2 exciting games. So what are the exciting games? I wonder if you could just pick your own, or it probably was Duck Hunt and the game that came with the robot. I'd say. Maybe it was Duck Hunt and Mario, because that was the 2 games. You could get the 2 games on one cartridge. That's what I was trying to say. So if you didn't want the deluxe pack, you can get the individual pack for $2.75. I love this. It's really the brain of the system, and all other components interact through it. Designed not only to run with your existing components, but the many new ideas being planned by Nintendo. Wow, $75 just for the Zapper gun. The robot, $135. Oh, I would love to get hold of the robot. I know it would be a cool thing to have, but there's not a lot you could do with it. The game for the robot alone was $75, so you could easily spend a couple of $100. So this is probably a good deal, actually, the deluxe pack. Programmable games. So I guess what they call programmable games is the ones where you can design your own tracks and that. Wrecking Crew. I'm just trying to think if I played that. Design your own buildings and rip them down but watch out for the monsters. Actually, I wouldn't mind getting that. I might have a look for that. Another riding game, lots of sports games, golf games, soccer. So there's the Zapper guns, Duck Hunt, Hogan's Alley, Wild Gunman, action games. So that's the first appearance of Mario Brothers in this whole advertisement. I guess Mario Brothers might have been waning a little bit by that stage, because this is like getting close to the 90s, and so I'd say everyone knew about it or had it and moved on to trying to promote more different types of games. Donkey Kong Math. I don't know how well that went down. I don't recall that, so that's another game I should look out for. And down here we got some LCD handheld games. So apparently this got a bunch of exciting ones. $14.95 for those back then. That's pretty pricey. Okay, moving on. Okay, so we got computer chest. I do remember an uncle of mine had one of these programmable computer chests. His was, I think, was something similar to this, but he got his from Tandy, not from Dick Smith. I'm not sure what happened to that. Here are some kids' pianos, electric organs and that. This looks interesting. Give kids a go. And over here we've got the toy computers. Now, Christine has got a couple of these, which I should show in a video somewhere down the track. So it's basically educational stuff. Learning aids, as they call it up the top. Let's move on. Okay, oh, now we get to some really exciting stuff. Health products, blood pressure machines, microwave leaking detector, indoor thermostat at home in the office. What's that? Light freshness. Okay. Torches. Not too exciting there. Retro cameras. Oh, here's the talking clocks. I actually do have a talking clock. It's not from exactly this period. It's probably about 4 years after this time. But yeah, I used to use it all the time, and it actually, you press the button and it actually tell you the time. And then it had two functions. It had a normal alarm, and then you could have it set that it would do a rooster crow. But yeah, these are just standard. There's electric timer, watch. So it's okay. So it's just normal things. But these talking clocks used to be all the rage. I used to always want one, and then when I finally got one, the novelty soon wore off. I can tell you that. Moving on to film cameras. Before iPhones and digital cameras, if you wanted just a little compact camera, these were the way to go. You had to put your film in it, of course. Then you had to send it away, and if you were lucky, you had a 24-hour photo developer, but most times you probably had to wait up to maybe 2 weeks, depending on where you lived. So we got those. Moving on to calculators. Never really been big into the calculators. Recently I did see an episode on LGR where there was a calculator that came out that could actually run, I think it was a Texas Instrument, where you could actually load Doom and a few other games onto it. And I think you can still kind of buy calculators, buy them with that. So that's a pretty cool thing. I might try finding a calculator that does that. That'd be cool to show. So they're just calculators. What have we got here? CB radios and car radios. Once again, notice the absence of no CD players. Cassette players was still all the rage at this stage. It wouldn't have been. I don't think it'd be probably too far off with CD players coming in for the cars. But yeah, I do remember the time when I think one of the first cars my parents had, it only had a radio in it, and then they upgraded their car in the early 80s, probably about 81, and we were really excited to find it. Yeah, especially Dad, that he can now put a cassette in of the music he actually wanted to listen to. So moving on. So alarm systems for your car. So I'm not sure, what are these? Here for $1, the Cobra are the transport. So these are meant to tell you if the police have a radar gun out and warn you to slow down. I don't actually know how well these kind of things actually worked. I do remember hearing stories where they didn't actually do what they were meant to do. I could be wrong. So yeah, I don't know how you would actually test one of those these days, but that'd be pretty cool to see if they actually do work like they do. I don't even know if you could actually buy radar detection things. I think they might be actually banned in Australia. I do remember there was a controversy where the police wanted them banned, but if they actually worked or not, that's another story. Okay, moving on. Okay, more home security. Keeping everything safe. More security. Intercoms. I always thought this would have been a cool idea. I don't know why, considering we lived in a 2-bedroom apartment when I was a kid. I always thought it would be cool, like, when I'm on my computer or doing something, Mum could just push a button and tell me that it's time for dinner, instead of coming down the hall, knocking on the door. But she didn't warm to the idea. moving on. Okay, now we're into the CB radios. Really wasn't into the CB stuff. We did have some walkie-talkies, kids walkie-talkies when I was a kid. But I think my brother kind of got into it a little bit, especially after when he'd watched Smokey and the Bandit and Convoy. Yeah, if you haven't seen those movies, they're cool movies to go and check out from the early 80s. Yeah, I didn't really get into those. Okay, moving on, more CB radios. Wow, what's this here? Satellite TV. Look at the price. I don't know what the conversion rate on that is. This is $7,000 one. Singles from at least 5 and any other isolated area more of interest to the. So basically, it's telling me. So this one here is telling me that you can pick up programs from the US to Japan, US to New Zealand, and Australia, and so on. Wow, there's something I would have loved to have got hold of. I don't think at the time my parents would have been spending that kind of money just so I could watch things like programs from America or Japan or anything like that, but that would have been pretty cool to have. Okay, TV antennas, and yeah, we'll just move past that. I do find these sometimes in thrift stores still, these economy indoor aerials, or at garage sales. But yeah, I think these indoor ones, I do remember them from being a kid. Yeah, they kind of hit and miss depending on where you lived. I lived in the city as a child, so picking up reception wasn't as bad as when my grandparents lived. At the time was a small country town, but now it's a lot bigger, and yeah, with digital TV, no problems picking up reception. Okay, moving on. Something I would have died for when I was a kid, and that was a camcorder or a video recorder. Used to be super jealous when I used to go to my brother's soccer matches, and there'd be half a dozen dads, and yeah, I didn't really care much about the video players. All I knew is you could dub from one to the other. But yeah, having a video camera as a kid would have been super cool, because I always wanted to make my own movies, but we never had access to a camera. But I think I was mid-90s, yeah, 20 years old or something. I picked up a second-hand one and shot a lot of home movies with out and about on adventures. Moving over to this page, we got cordless phones. Once again, we never really had a cordless phone until late 90s, I think. So never really experienced any of these ones. Moving over, so we've got more phones here. Oh, look how cool these retro color phones are. The clock radio phone. Actually, the phone I always wanted, which wouldn't be in this catalogue, is the Garfield phone. I'll put a photo up of that. I don't know if anyone remembers those, but they're pretty cool. They're a bit like the American football phones, but there was a Garfield one. You picked it up and Garfield's eyes opened up. I do remember my grandparents had one of these for some reason. They never used it, but it was hooked up, I guess just in case they ever wanted to take the phone down the hall or something like that. But these extension cords, back in the 90s when I first got the internet, yeah, everyone had one of these. You'd plug it into your phone line, which in our place was in the hallway, and I had to run it through the kitchen, out through the kitchen window. We had like an extension on the back, and into the room I was at the back. The only problem was no one else could use the line when I was on the internet. So I never really used the internet much until everyone went to bed. Then I sat up most of the night downloading and waiting for things to load. But these phones up here, these are pretty cool. I love these. I think I would have got either a blue one or a red one, if I was able to. Only $22.95. I'm not sure. It'd be interesting to know what the conversion rate of that would be. And these are pretty cool too. I don't mind these ones. These ones have the base. Though today I have no use for a landline phone at all. So let's move on. So more phones. Answering machines again. Like I said before, I didn't really have one. These are more office phones. I guess you could use them at home. Here's a car cellular phone. Man, look at the price of that. $2,995. So strange reason. My grandfather had one of these in his ute. I have no idea. I don't know if it just came with the ute or he put it in himself. But yeah, the prices and that for making calls from one of these was not cheap. Here's one of these cool tapes that you had for your answering machines that had funny messages. So it's got 12 pre-recorded phone messages by some of Australia's most famous people. So you can put that in your answering machine instead of a one that you made yourself, and it left a little funny message. Fax machine. Wow, look at the price of that fax machine back then. $2,395. The amount of these I've seen mid-90s to 2000s, and I still see a few of them trickle in. But yeah, you can't even give them away now. Okay, moving on. Now we're getting somewhere interesting. Computers. Never really 88, 89. Used to look at these at Tandy or Dick Smith. These computers. This is an Acer. I don't know if it actually is Acer Series 2, but I don't know if it actually tells you what CPU's in it. It'd be a 386, I'd say. I doubt it'd be. Yeah, if it's 386, maybe a 286. The end of the 286s, but I highly doubt it. Enhanced boards, drives and ports. So these are some of your add-ons, like a 360k floppy disk drive. You can add a game port, mono graphics adapter. Cool. Here is some of the monitors that you could get if you wanted to upgrade your monitor. There was a black and white $199, a budget RGB color $599. So RGB color, high resolution, $899. Wow. Oh, here's the stats here for this system over here. So let's see. Does it tell us? So it's got MS-DOS version 3.2 software and all the connection cables plus 7.7 megahertz, the usual standard 8 hertz clock speed. Doesn't really, just trying to see. So it comes with 256k memory. That'll cost you $995. So if you want to upgrade that to 640k memory, that's $1,495. 640k memory with 20 megabyte hard disk, single floppy drive, monitor and keyboard, $2,095. But it doesn't tell me. It tells me the clock speeds. It doesn't tell me exactly. I can't see the CPU. I guess people didn't really, unless you're in the know, probably people didn't realise what the importance of the CPU were. Selectable 4.77 megahertz and 8 megahertz clock speeds. So yeah, being an Acer, just trying to think who was. It probably wasn't Intel. Now with real-time clock and more. So that's pretty cool. $995. It's still. I'll have to do the conversion of that. I'll put it up on the screen somewhere. So we're moving back out. Here's some software. This is for the MS-DOS compatibles. There's Microsoft Flight Simulator, $129. Wow. These are mostly design programs. There's The Hobbit for $49.95. Lord of the Rings, $49.95. Gunship. I got a Commodore 64 version of that. That was gifted to me by a friend. The Ancient Art of War and Sea, Winnie the Pooh game, Star Trek, Leisure Suit Larry, $59.95. I would love to have got an original copy of that. When that came out, I think I got a friend bought it over for the Commodore 64 or the Amiga, probably the Amiga. Yacht racing, Where in the World's Coming San Diego. I had that originally on the Tandy Coco 3, but by this stage I had moved on to the Amiga. Defender of the Crown. Anything else there? Codemaster. That's about it there. So this is for, I think this is for the Atari, no, the Dick Smith. I think this is for the Dick Smith computer, I think. Programs marked with an asterisk require 16K RAM to operate on the VZ200. Okay, so I think that was like that's their like own brand. Over here is the Atari Exorcism. I actually have this. The only thing that was missing from mine is the joystick. I do have about four games for that, which are probably listed here. But yeah, I got mine. Unfortunately, didn't come with the box. It was just in a big box back in the late 90s or early 2000s. Me and my uncle found it at the local tip in their recycling centre. Got a heap of stuff for $2. So, but back in the day, it would have cost me $2.99. Hook up a printer to it, a disk drive. I could buy another light gun. Wow, $59 for a light gun. And a data cassette that you could hook up. Okay, here's some more peripherals for IBM compatibles and so forth. Printers, floppy drive cleaners, computer cassettes, parallel switch box for your TV. Oh no, actually this one you can hook up multiple, like if you have a printer and something else that uses a parallel switch, you can hook them up together. Some keyboards. Look at the price of a 101 keyboard, man. $149, unbelievable. $249 just for a green and amber monitor. Wow. Dot matrix printers. So now we're getting into more computer stuff. Oh, I used to have one of those. I don't know what happened to mine. You could punch out the floppy disks. Yeah, so if you want to make your floppy disk double-sided. I used to have one for the Commodore 64, which I have no idea what happened to that. I've got a feeling I lent that to somebody and it never came back. We've got some modems here, $339 for a modem. Wow, this one here is $369. This one's got a phone and a modem. Wow. These little mini computers, never had one of those. I've got something similar to this printer for the Tandy Coco 3, but I need to make a cable so I can actually try it out, which I've been meaning to do, but I haven't got around to it yet. Got some RAM expansion. Look at that. 32K of RAM would have cost you $239 back in the day. Wow. So over here, this is demonstrating that you could actually build yourself your own computer from all the parts. So you can get a baby 18 motherboard for $549. There's a power supply. Just looking for CPU here. Memory. Nothing about brief features. Motherboard 80286, so it's a 286 CPU. I guess that's included. That might have been a CPU that was actually soldered to the board. So yeah, wow. So even back then, if you didn't want the standard pre-built computer, you could buy it. So, and apparently it would cost you under $2,000. Okay, moving on. Next page. Now we're getting into these fun way into electronics. these were pretty cool. I remember Christine likes these, and we're trying to get hold of a set. Maybe we could do a video on it if we find it. So basically this teaches you fun ways to learn how to solder. You put little kits together, it'd be like a radio or a thermostat, or something like, yeah, there was a number of different projects you can do. So you could buy them individually, and I think sometimes you could buy like a full kit, which I think this is here, and then you would just buy little add-ons and do a different project. So the books had little projects all the way through them, so that's pretty cool. Here's some more add-on things. There's a mini multimedia meter. I actually got one of those for my 21st birthday. I've now upgraded to a digital one, but it was very handy back in the day. Is isolation tape. Actually, Christine's got one of those, and I pinch it from time to time when I need a particular tool that I don't have with my random scattered set. Okay, so that's about was it. We got the index here, a list of where you can find the stores. All these stores. This company is now closed. They went, they closed up. The original owner, he moved on. He sold the company to a bigger corporation and went on and did other projects. His name stuck with the shop, Dick Smith, but he after he left, the company went in a totally different direction, and they got rid of a lot of the little kits and got rid of little components that you could do to repair electronics and build your own little things and that, and slowly went into just supplying TVs and DVD players and toasters and kettles, and turned into just like a normal electronic shop. And within I think they closed up. I think the last stores closed up 2-3 years ago. So so that was the Dick Smith catalogue from 1988 to 89. Well, that's it for this video. So I hope you enjoyed having a look through this catalogue from Dick Smith. In the comments down below, let me know what you thought was the best item inside the magazine, and what you would have liked to have brought if you had the opportunity to do so. And don't forget to like and share this video, because it does help the video out. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because it lets you know when I upload a new video. Anyhow, thanks for watching. That's it for me. Bye for now.